Hey everyone, this is Rob from Crown of Thorns with a new video. And as you can see, I'm not in front of the whiteboard, but also I'm not driving, so that's different. Instead, I'm standing in front of my big screen. I think I've maybe done one or two videos in front of a big screen before, but I didn't know what to use for a background today. But as you can tell, I don't have a proper Bible study ready for today. Today is Sunday, April 24th. And I've had some, I don't want to say health issues, but kind of some health issues that have been bothering me for the past couple of weeks. So that really hindered my ability to get something prepared and done for today. The past couple of days, I have felt better, so thank God for that. By next Sunday, there'll be a new video up. I'll be working on that this week. But I wanted to put something up. I always like to put at least a short video up as a holdover until the next proper Bible study video. And like I said, the next one that I'm going to do will be in front of the whiteboard, and it's going to be a very in-depth Bible study. It's going to be one that will take, it might be a series of videos, because we're gonna dig deep on this. I don't want to give away the topic just yet, but it's going to kind of combine a few of the different topics that we've already talked about, but just see how they all tie in together, how they relate to where we are in the world today, and then a whole lot of new information added as well. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to take some time, but I've got this week. I'm feeling a lot better. So hopefully I'll have that up and ready to go by next Sunday. That's the plan anyway. So anyway, I've been thinking a lot lately about mortality. Not that I want to, put an emphasis on death. I don't consider myself to be a morbid person by any means, but I guess because we are in the end times, I do believe. But a lot of times, we as human beings, we don't like to think about our own mortality, and that's understandable. Nobody wants to think about when they're going to die. And a lot of times we don't know when we're going to die. But my reason for thinking about that is a lot of times when I do my videos, I always emphasize getting saved because we don't know when Christ will come back. I'm thinking it's going to be sometime this year. We'll see. But even outside of that, we don't know when we're going to die. The Bible says that we're not promised tomorrow, in essence. That's what it's saying, is that we're not promised tomorrow. Each breath that we take is really borrowed. At any moment when God wants to call us home, He will do so. And there's nothing that any of us can do about that. But the problem is, for those who are not yet saved, where are you going to go? Well, when it's your time to go, if you're not saved, you're going to a place of eternal torment. And I don't want that for anybody. And that's why usually at the top of every video, I show everyone what you must do to get saved. 1 Corinthians 15, 1 through 4, Romans 3:25, and Ephesians 1:13. And I always talk about the who and the what. But in thinking about our mortality, and in thinking about our place in the world right now, and in thinking about the fact that Christ could come back at any time, and in thinking about that tomorrow is not promised to us, what comfort do we have? What comfort do we have with all of that looming over us? Well, there's a verse I wanted to talk about for a second, and it's 2 Corinthians 5:8. Well, it's getting dark there as I turn. I like 2 Corinthians 5:7 as well. So I'll read that. For we walk by faith, not by sight. So I'm going to just talk about that for a second. What does that mean? We walk by faith, not by sight. Well, in this world that we live in, where there's a lot of unknowns and a lot of unexpected turns and twists, we as Christians need not be concerned with all the stuff that's going on around us. Circumstances around us, a lot of times we will consume ourselves trying to figure out something that we really have no control over. A lot of time the circumstances around us are outside of our control. And yet we'll stress and worry and drive ourselves nuts trying to somehow gain some control over these external circumstances. And I've always believed that 95, I'll just say 95, arbitrary number, 95% of what happens around us is outside of our control. We only control about 5% of what happens around us. And we should be adamant about controlling that 5%, okay? But the other 95%, if we can't control it, if we can't change it, if worrying and stressing over something cannot and will not change something, then why do it? Yet we're all guilty of that at times. But the Bible tells us clearly that as Christians, we walk by faith, not by sight. So if there's something in your life right now, finances, health issues, whatever it may be, and most of the time, or a lot of the times, those things are outside of our control. If we had control over it, then we wouldn't have to worry about it, right? We would just manipulate it and make it work out the way we want it to. But a lot of the time, it's stuff that's outside of our control, and that's why we get anxious. And the Bible tells us to be anxious for nothing, or to worry about nothing, okay? But that's hard to do. It's easier said than done, right? But the Bible's telling us that we walk by faith, not by sight. So all these external circumstances that are around us, we should not allow them to consume us. Because even though there's all these external circumstances that we have no control over, we can take joy and comfort in knowing that we have a God who controls and can manipulate and can change any circumstance to our advantage. We have a God who is bigger than any circumstance or obstacle that you may have in your life right now. And I'm not saying that things are always going to work out the way you want them to. I'm not saying that. The Bible says that in Romans 8:28, for we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. We know that all things work out for good. That doesn't mean that the events and the circumstances themselves are good. You could be in a horrible circumstance or position right now, but God, if you love him and you trust on him, will work these bad situations into something good. We can take comfort in that as well. But we don't need to look at what's happening in our world and see it only with our eyes, okay? To do so is to look at things carnally, okay? And we're not supposed to live carnally. We're supposed to live spiritually. And that means that we walk by faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, right? So, Hebrews 11:1, yes. So that's what we need to keep in mind. We walk by faith, not by sight. We don't have to take everything at face value. It may look like everything's coming down right now, but we have a God that is in control of all of this stuff. And that is where we need to keep our focus. Okay, we walk by faith, not by sight. So the next verse, that's the one I wanted to get to. We are confident, I say, this is Paul talking, and willing rather to be absent from the body and to be present with the Lord. What does that mean? Absent from the body and present with the Lord. Well, there are some religions that believe that when you die, you might go to a place like purgatory, or that you're in some sort of sleep for a long time until something happens. I don't know. I haven't studied it out a whole lot because I don't like to waste my time on stuff that isn't true. Purgatory and being in deep sleep for a long time are not true. And 2 Corinthians 5:8 gives us assurance of that. That when we are absent from the body, we are present with the Lord. Well, what does it mean to be absent from the body? Well, it means you're dead. Okay? It means you've sucked your last breath. Okay? You bought the farm. Whatever. You're done. Okay? They're going to plant you with the spring crops. However you want to phrase it, you're dead. That's what it's getting at. So what that means is your body has died. And again, this is talking about saved people. So your spirit is now going to be absent from your body. When you die, your spirit, that's really your essence. That is your life. That is the life essence. Okay? When you die, your spirit leaves your body. And if you're saved, again, this is talking about saved people, or two saved people, you are present with the Lord. Which tells me that you don't lay in the ground waiting for Jesus to come get you, and you're just sleeping, or you're in purgatory trying to get a second chance and avoid hell and all that other stuff. That's not how it works. If you're not saved, when you die, you're going directly to hell. Period. If you're saved, when you die, you're going directly to heaven. You are going to be with God, absent from the body, present with the Lord. That is the comfort that we have. Now, nobody likes to look at their mortality, unless you're a morbid person. Nobody likes to speak too much about death or the day that we're all going to die. And all of us will die at some point, unless Jesus comes back and then we just rapture out. But outside of the rapture, all of us are going to die. And it's not a comforting thought, but it can be. And if you're looking at it from the proper perspective, again, walking by faith and not by sight, then you can take comfort in the fact that, yes, someday I'm going to leave this earth. Now, it's not comforting in the sense that you're leaving people behind, or if you know somebody that has passed on, no, you miss them, and that's normal. But you take comfort in the fact that if they are saved, or if you are saved, when you do pass from this world, you're going to a place that is far better. Far better. You're going to spend eternity with God. You're going to have a glorified body. No more pain, no more illness, no more being too hot or too cold, no more having to count calories. I'm looking forward to that. That's why I always say, if there's a Burger King in heaven, that would be so great. I could eat all the Burger King I want and not have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about calories or fat or anything else. So anyway, we'll have these glorified bodies. And I got to thinking about that because, like I said, I've had some health stuff going on for the past couple of weeks. And wouldn't it be nice? Won't it be nice when someday you don't have to worry about that? No more headaches. No more stubbing your toe. No more cancer. No more any of that stuff. It's all going to be gone. That's what we as saved people have to look forward to. And so when you're thinking about mortality, or when you're thinking about illness, and we all face illness at some point to different degrees, to varying degrees, the comfort we can take is that, yes, it's not pleasurable now at all. When you're in pain, or you're suffering, or you just don't have energy, or you're not as vibrant as you would like to be. The comfort we have is that this is all temporary. This is all temporary. If you're dealing with a terminal illness right now, or just a really bad illness, even if it's not terminal, but something that just plagues you on a daily basis, know this: if you are saved, someday you won't have to deal with that ever again. Ever again. Now, for those of you that are not saved, what you're going through right now is actually a whole lot better than what you're facing in the future. So you may want to get saved. In fact, I know you will want to get saved. An eternity of torment just does not sound appealing to me at all. As bad as certain ailments here on earth may be, AIDS, cancer, leukemia, all these things, okay, even a cold, okay, that colds drive me nuts. They just linger, okay? I hate that. I would rather, if I'm going to get ill, come in, beat me up for a good 24 hours, and then get the heck out of here. But no, a cold is like an ex-girlfriend or an ex-boyfriend, depending on yours, that just doesn't know when to quit, doesn't realize that the relationship is over, that it's time to move on. That's a cold, to me. It just doesn't get it. And it just lingers, and you think, oh, I'm starting to feel better, and it comes back, right? So it's almost like a stalker. That's really weird. I hate colds. Anyway, I said all that to say this. Someday, we won't have to deal with any of that. It'll all be gone. But even if you're dealing with that right now, you can know, if you're saved, someday this stuff is just going to be gone permanently. And as I said, I've been dealing with something for a couple of weeks now. I'm feeling better. Thank you. Thank you, God. But it got me thinking about, man, I hate feeling like this. I have no energy. I just feel in pain. I don't want to eat. I can't do anything. It's really hindering my ability to get things done. But I try not to let that discourage me too much, because I know that it's temporary. Even if it lasts for 50 years, and for us as human beings, that seems like a long time, and it is. But you have to remember that God has all of eternity. This little timeline that we're on, and I always draw it up on the whiteboard, is but a small parenthesis in the vastness of eternity. It's just one small sliver of time. And someday when we are in eternity, we'll look back on this, maybe, and see it for how small and insignificant it truly and really is. But I take pleasure, I take joy, I take comfort in knowing that whatever I'm going through today, or tomorrow, or 20 years from now, if I have that, it's only temporary. Whether it's illness, financial issues, you lost your job, you don't know if you're going to make ends meet, whatever it may be. Just know it's temporary. Pretty soon, none of this is going to matter. That brings me to the next part I wanted to talk about. How do you live? That's a vague question, you might say. So let me specify what I mean by that. Let's just say you were told that you have 3 months to live. 3 months. You've got 3 months. At the end of that 3 months, you're going to die. If you were told that. How would you live your life differently than what you're doing right now? Would you spend more time with family and friends? Would you not put such an emphasis on work and job and money and materialistic stuff? Would you do more of the things that you maybe have on a bucket list, so to speak? Would you go on that vacation that you keep putting off because you think, I can't afford it? Would you do more of the things that you want to do? I'm not saying to be irresponsible. We all have responsibilities that we need to take care of, okay? But I think a lot of times we put so much emphasis on what we think needs to be done that we forget to do the things that we want to do. And God didn't put us here to merely exist, just get by, work, and at the end of the week, maybe have a few bucks left out of your paycheck to maybe go to McDonald's or Burger King. I don't think that's what God had in mind. I think God gave us this great big world and all the beauty therein to enjoy. So if you had 3 months left to live, I'm assuming, I'm betting, I'm hedging my bets, you would live a lot differently than what you're doing right now. I think you would take that vacation. I think you would take your wife on that special date. I think you would spend more time with your spouse, kids, family, friends, what have you. I think you would do that thing that might be a little bit risky or daring because you would figure, I have nothing to lose. So why am I asking that? Because I think too many people are living in a box and they're just getting by, living the status quo. I don't think people, for the most part, live their lives to their full potential because they're always afraid of what if I fail or what if it doesn't work out. And I, for one, when I do, if someday I end up on my deathbed and I know that I've only got moments left to live, I don't want to have regrets. I don't want to sit there and say, I shoulda, woulda, coulda. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Meaning, I should have done that, or I would have if only, or I could have, but I don't want to do that. We only pass through this life one time. Once. You get one go at it. Are you living your life the way you really want to? Now, I'm not saying to go off and do a bunch of sinful junk. I'm not saying that. Or, be a jerk to people. I'm just saying, if there's something in the back of your mind that you've always wanted to do or a place that you've always wanted to go, what are you waiting for? Why haven't you done it? And if you were told today, hey, you've only got 3 months left to live, would you then make it happen? And I'm thinking, yeah, you would. Well, again, like I said, we're not promised tomorrow. So in a way, today could be your last. Today could be my last. So why not live today as though it could be the last? Right? Perhaps we would live happier, healthier lives if so. Perhaps we would make sure that the things that we've always wanted to do but thought it might be too risky or too daring or outside of our comfort zone, maybe we would go ahead and do that anyway. Because we would think, well, could be my last. And the Bible tells us that. We are but a vapor. Okay? Here today, gone tomorrow. Could be. Now, I'm not wishing that on anyone, and particularly not on myself. Okay? But, again, without being morbid about it, we need to recognize our mortality, recognize that we are in the end times, recognize that Jesus could come back at any time, but also just know and realize, and again, don't live in fear over it, just realize that today could be your last. And maybe we should live with that sort of in the back of our minds. Maybe we would do more for the Lord, right? Maybe we would work a little bit harder to get other people saved, right? See, a lot of times we put off talking to that person that we know is not saved because we don't want to offend them or upset them or have them shoot us down. But what if you knew that your unsaved friend was going to die at the end of that day, at the end of today? What would you do? Would you step up your efforts knowing that they're going to die? I hope so. And that's good, but why is it any different because you don't know when they're going to die? To me, that's all the more scary. It might be 100 years from now before they die. True. So maybe you have that time, that luxury to put it off. But what if they've only got 5 minutes? But you don't know that. And then they die, and you never had that conversation with them. Then what? As I said, you don't get a second chance. There's no soul sleep. There's no purgatory. None of that. Absent from the body, present with the Lord, if you're saved. Absent from the body and a life of, or an eternity of torment if you're not saved. That's scary. So my approach for a long time has been, and I don't always do it as much as I should. I admit that. But just in the past couple of weeks, because of these health issues, and just kind of thinking about all this stuff, I am stepping up my efforts. I am reaffirming my position that I'm going to live as though each breath I take could be my last. And that's pretty much been my philosophy anyway. There are things that I want to do that I have not done yet. And I keep asking myself, why not? What am I waiting for? Am I waiting for that financial security that most people don't obtain ever anyhow? Am I waiting for that other person or friend or whatever else to say, okay, yeah, let's do that? Why am I not the one initiating that? So I've lived that way for quite a long time, but I don't think I've done it to full potential. And again, I'm not saying to neglect responsibility or to neglect other people or anything, or be selfish or anything like that. I'm not saying that. I am saying, though, that God put us here for a reason other than to punch a clock, okay? To pay our electric bill, gas bill, mortgage, car payment, and not enjoy life. God did not have that in mind. Yes, work is important. Paul said, if you do not work, neither shall you eat. So you do need to work. I'm not against that. But don't be consumed by it. Don't be consumed by always trying to, I want that, that financial security. So I'm going to neglect my kids and work 80 hours a week. We're not going on vacation this year because if I can just save up, a little more money, then we can buy whatever. And a lot of stuff that we buy, we probably don't need. A $40,000 vehicle or a $70,000 vehicle. Imagine if you just went and bought a used vehicle, a good one, for $5,000 or $6,000, or even $10,000, and then you had all that other money to go on a vacation, or you could afford to go on a vacation and take your kids or your family or your friends to a place they've never been before. Imagine that. Perhaps you're looking at something that you want to change about yourself, physically or otherwise. And you're second guessing whether or not you should do that. Because you're afraid that the costs involved, financial and otherwise, may compromise other things that you want to do. Well, my advice is this.